This video is all about solving these problems without using table. Now we're going to find the values without using table. Now, but before we proceed to look for the value of this without using table, I want to first explain something here about what we call complementary angle. Now, if you have a triangle, a right angle triangle like this, now this angle here is theta. Now this one is 90, and the sum of angle in a triangle is 180. So that means let me say here is A, B, C. It now means that B angle BAC plus angle ABC plus angle ACP is equal to what? 180. And angle ABC is equal to what? Theta. That is this angle ABC, which is this. Now angle ACB is equal to what? 90. Now let's substitute these values here. You have this to be theta. You have this to be 90, and this one is assumed to be unknown. Now you have this to be 180. Moving this whole thing and this one to this other side, you have angle BAC equal to 180 minus 90 minus theta. Now 180 minus 90 will give you 90 minus theta. So this angle here is 90 minus theta. Now the complementary angle is two angles are said to be complementary if the sum of them is equal to what? 90. Now if you check, if you sum angle BAC plus angle which angle is this one? This so angle, if you check now, angle BAC is equal to what? BAC is equal to 90 minus theta, while angle ABC is equal to what? Theta. Now if you add these two angles together, you add them, you will have 90, meaning angle BAC plus angle ABC, if you add them together, it will be equal to 90, because you add this together, this one will cancel out this. So these two are complementary angles. So if they are complementary angles, and if you look at this now, you will see that, let's say this, for this angle theta, this is the opposite side. So this side is opposite to this angle, while this side is adjacent to that angle, while the hypothesis remains the same. Now for this angle, this side now becomes the opposite. for this angle here, it becomes the opposite, while this side becomes the adjacent. Now, if you now say sine theta, which is equal to, now using what we call the SOHCAHTOA, now it is opposite all over the hypothesis, which is sine. This is this opposite over hypothesis, because the opposite of this angle is this. Now, if you look at it critically also again, if you look at it now, you see that it's the same thing as, okay, now let's say cos 90 minus theta. For cos 90 minus theta, it is adjacent all over hypothesis. Now, if you look at it, the adjacent of this angle is this. Now, let's use alphabets. Opposite of angle theta is AC all over AB, which is the hypothesis. Now, for this, the adjacent of this angle is this, which is still AC all over what? AB. So if you see, you look at it now, you see AC all over AB. So when you look at this one and this one, you see they are the same. So that means this sine theta is equal to cos 90 minus theta. Now, let's use this more specifically. Now, if you look at cos theta is equal to, this cos theta is equal to this adjacent. Adjacent is what? Is BC all over what? AB, which is the hypothesis. Adjacent all over hypothesis. Now, this is the adjacent to this angle. So, then this is the hypothesis. So now, if you look at sine 90 minus theta, you know it is opposite all over hypothesis. Now, if you look at it now, 90 minus theta, the opposite of this angle is this, which is BC all over AC, then AB. All over AB. So now, if you check now thoroughly, you see that cos theta is equal to sine 90 minus theta. So it now shows that for a complementary angle, if you have sine theta, it will be equal to what? Cos 90 minus theta. Vice versa, if you have cos theta, it's equal to sine 90 minus theta. Just like what we now have here. Cos theta is equal to sine 90 minus, while this one, sine theta is equal to this. So now before we begin, now on this understanding, we're going to be applying this in some of our problems. Now, we are asked to find sine 135 degree. Now, if you look at the quadrant, now you know the way we measure our angles here is we measure it counterclockwise. Now, meaning that the angle goes this way. Moving this way is positive. And you have 135. 135 is more than 90. You have 90 here, you have 0. What is less than 180? So it falls in the second quadrant. This is the first quadrant. So see, we're going anti-clockwise. So now here is the third quadrant, and here is the fourth quadrant. Now it falls here, being the second quadrant. Now, since it falls on the second quadrant, now on the second quadrant, the reference angle, the way we do it now, let's say now the acute angle that is formed between this line and the x-axis, the negative x-axis, will be now 45. How we got that is that if you now say at the second quadrant, you say 180 minus theta. So what is the angle theta that the acute angle that you will minus this? You minus it from this and you get 135, it is 45. So now, since we have 45, which is this, so meaning this is 180 minus 45 will give you 135 degree. So, and at 45 degree, you have here is 1, here is 1. The hypothesis is square root of 2. So now, it now means that sine 135, which is sine 180 minus 45 is equal to, now let's see if sine is, here now sine, let's see if sine is positive here or negative. So from here, the opposite is the y-axis, and the y-axis is positive, so sine is positive here. So that means we have sine 45, and sine 45 is equal to 1 all over the square root of 2. So now, to simplify this further, we can now multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of the denominator, which is still the same thing. That is, we multiply the up with the square root of 2, divide, then multiply the down with the square root of 2. So 1 times the square root of 2, you have square root of 2. Square root of 2 times square root of 2, you have 2. So this is the final answer for this. Then for B, we are given a problem which is tan, yes, we say tan 240. Now tan 240, if you look at the coordinate, here is 90, here is 180, here is 270. So you see it falls in the third quadrant. So in the third quadrant, we draw a line like this. Now here will be theta. So the third quadrant, this angle here is 180 plus what? Theta. So what is the angle? What is the acute angle you add to 180 to give you 240? The acute angle you're going to add is what? 60. So here it should be 60. So it will be tan 180 plus what? 60. So this is equal to, now if you look at it now, here is negative, here is negative. Now, and tan is opposite all over adjacent. That is tan theta. Now, and when you check tan theta, now here is 2, here is 1. But when here is 60, so here is root 3. Now here is minus root 3, here is minus 1. When here is 60, so that means tan is positive because here is minus, here is minus. The up is minus, the down is minus. The opposite is negative, the adjacent is what? Negative. So it becomes plus because minus divided minus is what? Is positive. So now we now have tan 60. So this is equal to tan 60, and tan 60 is what? The opposite divided by the adjacent, which is root 3 divided by 1. This is equal to what? Root 3. So that is the final answer for C. Then for B, then for C, we have C to be cos 210. Now, since you have cos 210, cos 210 is more than 180 or less than 270. So it's 210 still falls under the third quadrant. Now let me draw it here. You have 180, you have 270, and this 210 falls here. So it still falls under. Now what will you add to? So now, and from here, the angle from here to here is what? 180 plus what? Theta. Then this theta is the acute angle. So now from here, what will you add to 180 to give you 210? What you add is 30. So cos 180 plus 30. So this will give us what? Now at this point, you have here to be what? 60. Here is what? 30. Here is 30. Now, and when here is 60, here is 2. So here is 2, and here is 1, and here is square root of 3. So now here is minus, here is minus, here is 1. So since here is minus root 3 and you have 2 here, so that means cos is negative in this place. So you have minus cos 30 and minus cos 30. So cos 30 is equal to, it's the same thing as now. The adjacent of this 30 is this, which is, let's go here. Let me just do it here. I have cos 210. This is the same thing as cos 180 plus 30, because it falls on the third quadrant. And on the third quadrant, cos is negative. Look at it. Now, it falls here. Here is 30. Here is 60. Here is 90. So this one is 2. This one is 1. Then this is root 3. Now, this is minus. This one is minus 1. This one is minus root 3. Now, why from here to here is what? 210. While only from here to here is 30. So now, since at the third quadrant cos is negative, because you have negative here and this one is positive, so it's negative. So if minus cos 30 and cos 30 is equal to root 3 all over 2, which is, this is adjacent to this 30. This root 3 is adjacent divided by the hypothesis. So it will give you root 3 all over 2. So that is the answer. Then the next one is tan 330. The next one is tan what? 330. So tan 330 is more than, let me use here, tan 330 is more than 270 or less than 360. So it falls in the fourth quadrant. Now, on the fourth quadrant, what is the acute angle between this line and the x-axis? Theta. So what is the angle that you subtract? What is the angle you will subtract from 360 to give you theta? So this from here to here is 360 minus theta. So this is equal to 360 minus 30. So now here is minus, here is plus. So here is what? 30. Here is 60. So this is minus 1. This is 2. This is root 3. So that means tan is negative here. So you have minus tan 30. And tan 30 is 1 all over root 3. This is D. So then for this under one we have cos 225. So now that means so here's 180, 225 is more than 180 but less than 270. So it falls within the third quadrant. So if you read the line like this, that is 180 plus theta. So what is the value? The acute angle. This acute angle should be the value you add to 180 to give you 225. The value you add is 45. You add 45 to give you 225. So now, so this will now be 180 plus 45. Here is 1 minus 1. Here is minus 1. Here is root 2. So now cos 180 plus 45. So cos is negative here. So you have minus cos 45. So you now have and cos is equal to adjacent all over hypothesis, which is 1 all over root 2. So this is the final answer for that. Then you have the next one, which is f. F is cos minus 60. Now, you know, counterclockwise is positive. So if you go clockwise, it's negative. So clockwise, you will have this to be 60 minus 60. So which falls on the fourth quadrant. So and this falling on the fourth quadrant, and on the fourth quadrant you have now this is 60. You have here 1, this one 2, this is square root of 3. Now that means okay, now it means that cos 60 will just be adjacent all over hypothesis. Now you see the positive side all over this. So now it means that cos minus 60 is positive. So you have cos, it's the same thing as cos 60. So and cos 60 is what? 1 all over what? 2. That is the final answer for that. Now let's look at another problem, which is G, which is cos square. Cos square 330. This is same thing as cos 330 square. Now let's then cos 330. When you look at the quadrant, now 330 is more than 270 but less than 360. So it is on the fourth quadrant. So on the fourth quadrant, for the fourth quadrant, what we use is 360 minus theta. So this value that is theta will be 30. So it's 30 that you subtract from 360 to give you 330. So now you now have cos 360 minus 30 all squared. Now you have here to be square root of 3. Here is 2, here is 1. This is minus 1. So cos on the fourth quadrant is positive. So we have cos 30 squared. So cos 30 squared, cos 30 already is, that is adjacent all over hypothesis, is equal to root 3 divided by 2 all squared. So this is will give you square root of 3 square all over 2 square, which is 3 all over 4. So this is the final answer for that particular problem. Then the next one we have sine minus 120. So sine minus 120, you have, now this is the negative side. So now if you move sine 1, so 120 is more than minus 90 here, is less than minus 180 here. So it will fall on the third quadrant. So this is negative 120. So falls on the third quadrant. So from here, defining it from here is 180 plus theta. So from here, 180 plus theta. So what? Now, if you look at it thoroughly, here, from here to here is 30. So this, so when here is 120, so here should be, for you to get to 180, what will you subtract? You subtract 60. So 1 minus 20 minus 60 will give you minus 180. So here is 60 degree. So it's 60. The acute angle is 60. So that means you have sine 180 plus 60. Now, that means sine 60. So it will be minus, because at the third quadrant sine is negative. So it will be minus sine 60. And if you look, if you draw a line, you have, here is 2, here is 1, here is square root of 3. So sine 60, this is the opposite. Sine is opposite all over hypothesis. So the opposite is Square root of 3 divided by what? 2. So that is the final answer to that particular problem. Then the next one, we have tan 135. So this tan 135, if you look at it thoroughly, is more than 90 but less than 180. So it falls on the what? The second quadrant. So, but on the second quadrant, tan is negative. So that is it. So here, the acute angle here will be 45. Will be 45. Here is 1, here is 1, here is the square root of 2. So that means you have tan 180 minus what? 45. Now tan 180 minus 45. So now tan is negative here. You have minus tan 45. And this is equal to minus, and tan 45 is equal to what? 1. So we have minus 1. That's the final answer to that particular problem. Then the next one, we are asked to find J. We're asked to find 2 sine 120 cos 120. Now, let's look for sine 120. Now, let's look at the quadrants. You have, it's more than 90 but less than 120, so it falls on the second quadrant. And on the second quadrant, only sine is positive. So now, and on this, you have 180 minus theta. And what will you subtract 180 to get to 120? What the value you subtract is 60. So 180 minus 60 will give you 120. So that means sine 180 minus 60 is the same thing as sine 180 minus 60. So sine 60, you have here 2, here is 1, here is square root of what? 3. So sine is positive. Sine is positive on the second quadrant, so you have sine, this will now be sine 60, which is equal, okay, let me write it here, which is equal to sine 60 is equal to opposite all over hypotenuse. This is the opposite of this angle, which is the square root of 3 divided by 2. Then the next one, you have cos 120, which is the same thing as cos 180 minus 60. And this is, and cos is negative here, you have minus cos 60. So minus cos 60 will give you minus 1 all over 2. So cos 60, this is the adjacent all over hypotenuse. So the adjacent to this angle is 1 divided by 2. So we have minus 1 all over 2. Now if you multiply, if you now substitute these values, which is equal to this, and this, which is equal to this, into this equation, you have 2 sine 120 cos 120 equal to what? Equal to the square root of 3 all over 2 times minus 1 all over 2. Then there is 2 here. So this will give us the square root of 3 minus the square root of 3 all over what? 2. So this is the final answer to that particular problem. And if you look at this thoroughly, again, if you look at it thoroughly, you will see that you will see that 2 sine 120 cos 120, using this principle where you have sine a plus a, which is equal to sine a cos a plus cos a sine a. So these two, they are the same, so you just say 2 sine a cos a. So this one is sine 2a. Now if a is equal to 120, that means 2a is equal to what? 240. Now that means sine 240 will now be equal to, you see, we have minus root 3 all over 2. Now if you say 240, 240 is less than 270 but more than 180, so it falls on the what? On the third quadrant. And on the third quadrant, sine is negative. So but here on the third quadrant, the reference angle is 180 plus 60. So what will you plus 60? So what will you add to 180 to give you 240? What you add is 60. So you have sine 180 plus 60. So and sine is negative at the third quadrant. So you have minus sine 60. And sine 60 is from here, sine 60 opposite to this angle, which is square root of 3 divided by 2. So square root of 3 divided by 2. So this is sine 60. So you see, if you look at it now, it's the same with this result we got in. So it's just the same. So you can solve it in this other form. Now let's look at another question. So you have this other question, we have cos 300 raised to power 3 minus sine 300 raised to power 2. Now this is the same thing as saying cos 300 all raised to power 3 minus sine 300 all raised to power 2. Now cos 300, we check the quadrants. Now 300 is more than 270 but less than 360, so it falls what? On the fourth quadrant. And on the fourth quadrant, cos is positive. Now what is the acute angle you will add to, you subtract from, because if you move like this, it should be 360 minus theta. So what is the angle you subtract from 360 to give you 300? The angle is 60. That is, you have cos 360 minus 60. So since cos is positive, this is 60. Since cos is positive here, so here is 1, here is 2, here is minus square root of 3. So since cos is positive at the fourth quadrant, you have cos 60. So this will give us what? This should now be, now cos 60 is 1 all over 2, which is here. This is adjacent all over hypothesis. So adjacent to, so this is the adjacent to this angle, this hypothesis. So now it's 1 over 2. Then sine 60 times 300. So it's the same thing, falls on the fourth quadrant. So you have sine 360 minus 60. So this will give us minus sine 60. And sine 60 from here is So minus, so you have root 3 divided by, that is the opposite divided by the hypothesis, which is root 3 divided by 2. So you have minus root 3 divided by 2. So if we now plug in, now you have sine 300 to be equal to this and cos 300 to be equal to this. So let's plug it into this. So you have cos 300 all cube minus sine 300 all squared. So now you have this, which is equal to half cube minus this, which is equal to this, minus 3 all over 2 all squared. So this will now be equal to, this one will give you 1 all over 8 minus this will give us 3 all over 4. So what is the LCM between 8 and 4 is 8. So the LCM, so 8 divide this is 1, 1 times this you have 1. 4 divide this, 4 divide 8 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. So minus 6. So you have minus 5 all over 8 as a final answer to that particular problem. So then the next question that was given, they said find, now simplify this. You have 1 plus cos 240 divided by 1 minus cos 240. So this will now give you, now first let's look for the value of cos 240. Now let's look at the quadrants. Now 240 is more than 180 but less than 270. So it falls on what? The third quadrant. So what is the value you add to? This is 180 plus theta. What is the angle theta you add to 180 to give you 240? 60. So 60. So here is 2. Here is 1. Here is root 3. So that means you have cos 180 plus what? 60. And cos is negative on the third quadrant. So you have minus cos 60. So this will be equal to minus cos 60. So you have minus cos 60 is what? Is half. That is adjacent all over hypothesis. So 1 all over 2. That is cos 60. Now, so we have gotten this. Now let's now substitute anywhere we see cos 240, we substitute minus 1 all over 2 into the equation. So now that's what we're going to do now. So we have 1 plus cos 240 divided by 1 minus cos 240. So this is equal to 1 minus, so plus, let me say plus minus 1 all over 2 divided by 1 minus 1 all over 2. So 1 plus times minus will give you minus 1 all over 2 divided by 1 minus times minus will give you plus 1 over 2. So this is the same thing as, so this one is the same thing as 2 all over 2 minus 1 all over 2. This divided by this one is the same thing as 2 all over 2 plus 1 all over 2. So what I'm doing here is just trying to make the denominators the same. So if the denominators are the same, you add the numerators. So now for the top we have 2 minus 1 all over 2. Let me say divide by 2 plus 1 all over 2. So this one, the first expression will be 1 all over 2 divided by 3 all over 2. So this can now be also be written in this form 1 all over 2 times, I will reverse this, you have 2 all over 3. So this will cancel out. The final answer is 1 all over 3. So this is the final answer. Now the next question here is you have tan 300 plus and 210 divided by 1 minus and 300 and 210. Now tan 300, let's look for this. Tan 300, now let's draw this. Is more than 270. You know, here is 0, 90, 180, 270. This is 360. So it's more than 260, 270, less than 360. So it falls on the fourth quadrant. It falls on the fourth quadrant. So this is 360 minus 60. So what will you subtract from 360 to give you 300 is 60. So here is 1, here is 2, here is root 3. Now, that means you have tan 360 minus 60, because it's 60 that you subtract to this to give you 300. So, and at the fourth quadrant, tan is negative, so you have minus tan 60. So minus, so tan 60 is root 3. So we have minus root what? 3. So let's look at tan 210. 210 is more than 180 but less than 270. So it falls on what? The third quadrant. So that means if you now, so what will you add to 180 to give you 210? So what you add to 180, because this from here to here now is 180 plus theta. So what is this angle theta that? What will you add to 180 to give you 210? So you add 30. So you have tan 180 plus 30. Now, at the third quadrant, tan is positive. So you have tan 30. And you know tan 30 is equal to what? So now, so this tan 30 now you have here to be 30. Now, from there, here is 2, here is 1, here is root 3. So tan 30 is 1 all over root 3. So minus, so it's plus, sorry, it's plus at the third quadrant. Tan is plus at the third quadrant. So you have 1 all over root 3 as tan 30. Now let's substitute the value. So now we have this to be equal to this and this to be equal to this. So let's substitute. We now have the problem to be 300 plus and 210 divided by 1 minus and 300 and 210. So we have this to be minus root 3 plus this to be 1 all over root 3 divided by, you have 1 minus This one is equal to minus root 3 times 1 all over root 3. So that means this will now be minus root 3 plus 1 all over root 3 divided by, we have 1. Now minus times minus will give you plus. So this will cancel out, you have 1 here. So we now have minus root 3 plus 1 all over root 3 divided by 2. So we have this to be. Now, if you want to factorize this, we can just say root 3 is the same thing as multiplying root 3 to it, then divide by root 3. So this divide this is still 1. It's just like multiplying 1 to root 3, then plus 1 all over square root of 3 divided by 2. So this root 3 times root 3 will give you, this is minus 3 root 3 divided by root 3 plus 1 all over what root 3 all divided by 2. So since the denominators are the same, we'll add the powers, we'll add the numerators. So we have minus 3 plus 1 divided by root 3 all divided by 2. So we say the up now is minus 2 all over root 3. So these two will now come up there. So, or let me just make it simpler for you. You have minus 2 divided by root 3 divided by 2 over 1. So this is the same thing as saying minus 2 divided by root 3 times 1 all over 2. You reverse this by this expression. So now this will cancel. You have minus 1 all over root 3. So this is the final answer. Thank you for watching till the end.